Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video was highly requested after my 2022 bullet journal setup. I had a ton of questions about my grid spacing bookmark, so this is a video hopefully explaining the whole process from start to finish. To start off, I'm just showing the basics of how I use it. I'll create a spread from start to finish at the end of the video, so keep watching so you can see that. This is the one I created for my reading journal. I'm basically just showing you that I line up the bookmark with the dots on the page and make my spread from there. I originally created the bookmark using scrap paper from Dutch doors that I cut from my journal. You can use the Archer and Olive notebook paper, or you could use a page from the back of your journal. The first thing I did was punch the corners off so that all the corners were rounded. Obviously, you can have the corners all squared off if you prefer, but I liked them rounded, so I chose to do that. Before I did that, I planned out my spacing. The horizontal spacing doesn't have as many dots, so there aren't as many options, so I just chose the ones I knew I used the most. Setting this up does take some time counting and figuring out how you like things, but I'll do a close-up of all the numbers so you can use mine if you want. I have two separate sets of columns. The lines on the left all have a space between them. The ones on the right don't. Depending on the layout, I'll add the space or leave it out, so I wanted to give myself both options. The long black line is the edge of the page when you hold it horizontally, so I used that space to add a title or draw a picture. I also marked the middle of the page with a shorter black line. The number on the end of the line is how many columns there are. The number on the inside of the line is how many dots there are per column. So for example, there are 4 columns here and 6 dots in each column. If you want to use my spacing, you can pause the video and take a screenshot or write down the numbers now. Here I'm just writing how many dots there are horizontally on the page. Now we're moving on to the vertical side. There are so many numbers of rows that you can make, so this side is a bit more full, but it's pretty much the same in the sense that I chose the number of rows I used the most, and I used those. The left side has a space between the rows, and the right side does not. Again, I marked the middle of the page with a black pen so it stands out a bit more. Here is a close-up of the numbers for the vertical side. Now I'm going to create a very simple weekly layout using the bookmark so you can see how I use it. This is very similar to a weekly that I used in my January setup. The dots are really hard to see on camera, and of course my camera still can't figure out where it wants to focus, but all I did was line up the dots and mark with a pencil where I wanted to draw my lines. So here I'm just marking the middle of the page so that I can have a clear line going all the way down to separate the week. You could use this for events and work schedule, or household chores versus work to-do lists, or whatever your heart desires. Now I'm going to add a title to my bookmark using my favorite stamps, to put grid spacing and then adding some stars using these stamps that my husband and I made. Y'all know how much I love my star stamps, but I didn't like the little acrylic block that you have to use with them. So my husband and I made these little wooden pieces that are exactly like my stamps that I got from Amazon. And I used E6000 glue to attach the little stars to the wood pieces. Now I am even more in love with these stamps. Alright, so here are all the grid spacing bookmarks I've made so far. My favorite is probably the one I made for my reading journal because I love the tassels. I also do really like the little washi tape tassel that I did. I think it turned out really cute. It's definitely different. So for my personal journal and for my reading journal, I put the bookmark in an envelope in the back of the book. But for my daughter's journal, I put it in the front. So the options are really endless. You could even just use it as like a bookmark, marking the page that you're on, and you don't even really need a place to store it. I think this is definitely a great option for people that are new to bullet journaling. That way they can just line everything up and they don't have to worry about figuring out new layouts and figuring out new spreads. I think it is a great tool to have for every bullet journalist. And that is it for this video. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comments down below and I'll try to answer them. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!